All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on. This is actually lesson 4, and we're just going to kind of do some review stuff. You obviously know that 1 meter equals how many centimeters? Go ahead and think about that for a second, and hopefully you came up with 100. Again, if you don't have your notebook, go grab it now. Pause while you're doing it. All right, so 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. If I were to write this as an equation, without a variable, just an equation that actually has an answer, I would write 1 times 10 to the second power equals 100. Because it's like saying 1 times 10 times 10. 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100. This is something we're going to talk about today. The other thing you need to know is that millimeters are even smaller than centimeters. And that 1 meter, remember a giant meter stick, is 1,000 millimeters. Which, if we were to write an equation, would be like saying 1, so I have 1 meter, times 10 to the what power? 1, 2, 3, third power. That's 10 times 10 times 10 gives me 1,000, equals 1,000. Keep this in mind. Make sure you have this written down. You're going to need to know these conversions. All right, let's go ahead and do our very first one. Let's imagine I have 29 meters. How many centimeters is that? Well, if 1 is 100, 29 would be 2,900. Because it's times 10 to the second power, which means I'm shift over 2 times. And when I put in those places that I've shifted, I put zeros. And if I were to write this out as an exponent, I would keep my 29, and I would multiply it times 10 to the what power? To the second power. Because that's what the centimeters is it's to the second power. It's 100. And that, of course, equals 2,900. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one, which is 8 4/10 meters. We're going to keep that and then turn it into centimeters. Well, since centimeters is times 10 to the second power, or times 100, I know I'm shifting to the left twice. So that would give me 840 centimeters, or 8.4 times 10 to the second. All right, are you ready for some good practice ones? Well, let's go. If we have, let me take this down just a little bit. If we have 5 centimeters, and I want to go to meters, what would that be? It's interesting because 1 meter is 100 centimeters. But 5 centimeters, how many meters would that be? If you were thinking it's 0.05, you would be correct because I'm dividing ideally by 100, and when I divide by 100, I shift to the right. And that place value chart, if your decimal's right here, you have 5 ones, tenths and hundredths, you're shifting it 1 space, 2 space, 100. So it'd be 5/100th meter. And then, of course, would be 5 divided by 10 to the second. Not times, we're going backwards. That's divided by. All right, let's go ahead and do some millimeters. If you remember, 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. So let's go ahead and practice some of those. Let's say we want to do 6 meters, and we want to turn them into millimeters. Well, since 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters, what would 6 meters be? Well, hopefully you said 6,000. And that equals 6 times 10, not to the second power, but to the third power because you went 3 spaces. Third power. 6 times 10 times 10 times 10 because that's what 1,000 is. Let's try another one. 5 and 7 tenths. Remembering that we're doing it times 10 to the third power. Go ahead and pause and see if you can figure out how many times you shift and what my new number would be. Hopefully, you said that the new number should be 5,700 millimeters because I shifted 3 times. If I were to write it out exponentially into an equation, it would be what I started with, 5.7 times 10. And since we're dealing with 1,000, that's to the third power. All right, go ahead and clear your board. All right, let's go backwards. Let's have something like 1,540 millimeters. This time, we're going to meters. Again, 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters. So if I have 1,000 of these, you obviously know you're going to have 1 whole meter. But what do I do with the rest of this stuff? Well, since I'm dividing, because I'm going from smaller to bigger, I'm dividing, so I would move to the right 3 spaces, 10 to the third power. And when I do that, I would end up with 1 and 54 hundredths because I shifted over 1, 2, 3 spaces, which would be the same as saying 1,540 times 10, or not times, sorry about that, divided by 10 to the third power. And that equals 1 and 54 hundredths. All right, go ahead and get a problem set. Find your partner. Don't forget it's on Schoology. All right, have a good day.